Today, I'm joined by my special guest, Brendan Beige Deary. This is ChillPoint.
I'm going to believe that the audio was playing.
I'm going to as well. Oh,
Yeah.
no music. Okay. Apparently, just before we went online, there was like a slightly ominous thud from the speaker in the room here, which I was assuming was a weird thing, but maybe it actually wasn't playing. Anyway,
Oh, well.
but we heard you. Okay, you heard us, but just no music. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. We can deal with that. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Chill Point, where this week we are sadly sans Heather,
Yeah.
but special guest.
Yeah, I'm rarely the one who comes on when it's only two people, right? Like I'm the one who's like I can't get out of bed for some reason. Everything is terrible. So
Like, if everything being terrible was a reason to not get out of bed, we would just never get out of bed.
no, exactly. I mean, like as my understanding from what people are saying, it is very cold in many parts of the world right now.
That's true.
At least the northern hemisphere, or at least just over the North American continent. It's nice here. That's not helpful, but
No,
it's nice here.
It's a great Canadian comedian, Lauren Elliott.
Oh yeah.
I went to a show of his in Victoria. In Victoria, the land of the meteorologically smug.
Yeah. We kind of are, yeah.
Yeah.
It's why
Yeah.
I moved here. So, it's funny too because I mean, insight into my personal life. My parents are currently on their way down south to winter in the United States.
Oh.
And they because they live up north, and so for them it's like we really need to get out of the snow. And they just got a hold of me the other day and say we're already in Montana. I'm like, great, that's awesome.
Where are they going to?
They're going to Arizona,
Oh,
which will not get snow, I'm sure. But it's like we're already in Montana, and I'm like, that's awesome. You have not dodged the weather. Like, there's no way that I'm sure that even going into like by the time they hit like fucking Wyoming or whatever, that it's still going to be miserable on the way down there. So yeah, it's gonna be rough. I'm sure they're gonna have a bit of a rough trip, but hopefully they make it down there. Hopefully they make it down there pretty safe. So.
In other news, also right before I went online, I found this screw,
Yeah.
which I believe is from part of the hinge on this laptop, which is cool. That screws just kind of fall out.
Yeah. This Asus Republic of Gamers laptop. Oh, it does have thread lock on it. That's so weird. When I picked it up earlier, I picked it up, I guess, and I covered the thread lock. But yeah, it's got blue thread lock on it. It should not have come out. Wow.
Anyway,
We must really treat this thing like garbage.
I mean, it's not like it's like, I don't know why I would have. It's like the screen opens and closes.
Yeah.
A couple times a week. It's not like a ton of work.
No, it's true.
It's not like it's been like been shaking or something.
Exactly.
So, like,
Yeah. Has it?
Anyway,
Are you logged in successfully? Let's find out. This is
I
always
did
fun.
log in.
Oh, okay.
Am I still logged in? Is the question.
That's the question.
So far, I seem to be.
That's great. All
It's
right.
when it'll just randomly log me out at some point. I'm sure. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to Chill Point, the show where we talk about the week's video game news and the episode of Checkpoint that just went up this week. And in fact, I mean, this week's episode of Checkpoint was obviously, it was the first week sort of back to regular Checkpoint after our break over the holidays. And so even more so than usual, like the Checkpoint this week wasn't necessarily news from this week. It was sort of catching up on a bunch of news that we thought was interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
In a more written way,
And
or a pre-written way. Anyway.
And I appreciate having an extended break, but wow, that one did go on for a little while.
Well, we would have come back at least a week earlier.
Yeah.
But we went directly from New Year's into like a PPR.
Yeah,
so
like
that
Christmas, New Year's, PPR, and then we did the quiz.
We did the quiz.
We're back.
Yeah. And like last year, we did the quiz a week earlier.
Yeah.
So it would have all come back earlier.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's. I understand now though why also so many late night hosts tend to go on hiatus and take like 2 weeks off or something at times when you're like, why are you taking this time off? And it's like, well, they, be on for 2.5 months and take a 2-week break. It's actually not a bad thing to do to kind of get your mind back together.
I find it always interesting that I don't know whether it's a deliberate, I'm assuming it's a deliberate choice that all the late night hosts go on break at the same time.
I have though noticed that there have been like a couple that are staggered a little bit. Like I've noticed that Kimmel will be on, but Seth will be off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know how it works out with Colbert or whatever. And John Oliver's whole thing is just nuts. Like because it's like we're on or we're off or whatever whenever we need to be on or off at. I don't know how they figured that out, but yeah, I don't even think about Fallon.
Wow.
So doesn't even occur to me to think about what he's up to.
Like, do you think they all go on vacation together?
It would be nice. Yeah. Colbert's going to be on Seth, which is
they did
nice.
They did that podcast during the
writer strike.
During the strike.
Strike Force 5, which is kind of great. And I like as over time.
I mean, they're all friends, obviously.
Yeah, which is such a relief from like the old late night wars days. But just the idea of going on break and having it like we're not saying, oh, we need to go on break for our mental health. It's more like we need to go on break because of prevailing things that are going on in the moon base, right? It's like, oh, we got a PPR this week. There's no checkpoint because there's no way we'd be able to write anything and put it together. So
it's not a vacation. It's just we're doing something else.
Exactly. And so, but those moments of like when it's Wednesday night and I'm like, I don't have to write anything tomorrow because we're not doing a checkpoint. Oh, that's actually a bit of a relief. I get to just have the night off tonight. I just, it's nice. It's fun to write stuff, but it's also nice to have the night off. So,
I mean, and I do talk about, I've talked about it before, but, we've been doing checkpoint for so long.
Yeah.
And we did ENN before that. And the format, obviously, that we've done those shows in has changed over the years, and the way the way they're written and how we set it up and stuff has changed over the years. But one thing that has stayed fairly consistent is going out and looking for stories.
Yeah,
and sometimes other people have been more involved in that. And these days, it's mostly me looking for stories.
Yeah,
other people throwing in stuff when they find things, and I've been doing that for so many years that it is kind of, I just, if I've got like some spare time or I'm just like chilling,
right,
I'll just be on my phone and I'll just like pull up my RSS feeds and start looking at stuff and marking stories and things, and then I'll be like, oh, wait a minute, we don't actually have a checkpoint this week. Whatever.
Yeah. it's become habit for you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Anyway. Let's get into the stories that were on Checkpoint this week. Now, like I said, some of these stories are things that we kind of covered on ChillPoint earlier in the week, because of course we came back to ChillPoint before Checkpoint. So we probably don't have to go into huge detail on those ones because we kind of already talked about it. But we can talk about particular takes on it, which in this case, the first story was Nelson wrote a story talking about GameStop. And he sort of combined two things together, the GameStop, the thing with a bunch of GameStops closing.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And all then over, also... and then with what's his name? Ryan Cohen being offered $35 billion if he can get GameStop stock up to $100 billion, which is ridiculous. It's like at $10 billion, and the highest it got was $10 billion, I think.
Yeah.
when it was doing all this stupid meme stock stuff.
Yeah. I wonder though if there is a sliding scale for his compensation where it's like, hey, if you keep it at 10 billion, then we'll give you 3 billion or some ridiculous thing like that. And I'm like, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't see the utility in giving away a third of your market value to the CEO.
But,
Like I'm like, you're just gonna straight up pay him this. It's like you wouldn't give away a third of the money that your market cap isn't even what your revenue is.
well, it's
So giving him the stock option is like nuts.
yeah, because it's $35 billion in pay package and like stock options and stuff. So it's probably, I guess, if the stock is worth $100 billion and he's being given stock options, obviously the $35 billion in stock options is predicated on the value of the stock staying high.
Yep.
So I don't know. It seems like kind of a dumb thing. But you know what? I do also appreciate though, if you, I think if anybody, I mean, I think Graham made a joke about this.
Yeah.
That it's like, you know what? If any of us came into GameStop and somehow made their stock price go up so that they're worth $100 billion,
Yeah.
I would hope that GameStop would fairly compensate.
Be like, oh shit, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
give you a third of our value. Yeah.
Like Ryan Cohen isn't special.
No.
But and then the other part of this, of course, was this fun story about Chef Bill Leave.
Yeah.
Which I believe is, I'm assuming his name is Bill.
Yeah. Billieve, like believe, but Bill Leave.
Who made a GameStop in his basement. Which we talked about this a little while ago. It's a neat story about him. Just basically like it's like, hey, I'm making a man cave or whatever, finding a cool thing to do, and then deciding to and then being like, hey, maybe I could do it like this. He did say in the article that he hasn't never actually worked in a GameStop, so he still has fond memories.
Yes, exactly. Oof.
But this was technically that story is not actually connected to the game. Like it's not like he got a bunch of stuff from GameStops because they're all closing down. He's been making this thing for a while.
Right.
But anyway, he made this cool thing in the basement. And as I said before, if there's any like sketch comedy troupes that are local to him, that having a place that looks like a GameStop that you could like shoot during work hours.
Yep.
That would be a gold mine.
Yep.
Great to have. But yeah, and I also did want to mention some new. There's also a more recent update to the all the GameStops or whatever 300, 200 something GameStops
Right.
in America closing down. The GameStop who also owns the EB Games in Australia and in New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe most, if not all, EB Games in New Zealand have shut,
Really?
and a bunch of them in Australia have also closed down.
Because that's like
Now, EB Games in Canada is actually not owned by GameStop anymore.
Yeah. There's a if I'm trying to remember this correctly, when I went to PAX Australia years ago, there was a section of it that was called EGX.
The last EB Games in New Zealand shut here at the end of the week.
Yeah. But I seem to remember there being a thing about like, EGX, which was like the EB Games Expo portion of PAX. I didn't really understand why it existed, but it was like, so why would EB Games or why does EB Games have their own expo? And why is it integrated into PAX? Though I guess that makes sense because if you're already going to be holding an event like that, why wouldn't you try to dovetail the two things together and make them work together on a thing? Because a lot of times, like, we're going to have a gaming expo, but then next week we're going to have another gaming expo. It's like that wouldn't really make sense. So, and I think like in like Berlin, I know in the EU there was also like an EGX something or other going on. Maybe it's the UK. I can't remember, but I thought it was in the EU, where again it's EB Games, this entity doing this stuff, and I didn't realize it was global. Like the name was being used globally, and whether or not it belongs to all the same company, whether it all belongs to GameStop or not, I couldn't say. Like I don't know what's a subsidiary of what.
Well, of course, the weird thing is, at least in Canada, I don't know how this is internationally, but EB Games, so originally was Electronics Boutique,
Yeah.
which is the joke at the end of the episode. That hey, the Electronics Boutique name is probably still available.
Yeah.
Apparently, although that is not true, because they're apparently there's a plan to turn EB Games in Canada back into Electronics Boutique.
Yeah, I think
Which I always liked. It's just a fun name, Electronics Boutique.
Yes.
It makes it sound so classy.
Which is funny though too, because when you walk in there,
Like EB Games doesn't mean anything.
it's even more obvious when you would walk into Electronics Boutique and discover that it's half Funko Pops and socks.
Well, that's the other thing is that there's not so much. It's probably more accurate too.
Yeah.
That it's not just games.
Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on in there, but it's still not 80% electronics. Like even with all the other, like it's still falling. It's like ThinkGeek had kind of because I think they got it absorbed by GameStop.
Right,
didn't
GameStop
they?
bought ThinkGeek.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like these stores should all turn into ThinkGeek stores. Is what they should turn into.
I mean, ThinkGeek's gone now.
It is gone for sure.
Because
Right.
GameStop
Completely destroyed it.
Yeah.
But it's like that's
for a while. It was like GameStop was just completely tanking, and ThinkGeek was the only part of them that was actually making any money. And
Yeah.
presumably they siphoned that off until it.
And I'm willing to kind of give them the benefit of like, if you want to call it EB Games, then I guess that's fine because it's still like the bulk of the stuff in your store has to do with games and gaming, even if it isn't actually like you don't, your half your stock is video games and half your stock is something else. It's like, okay, well, video game and video game related fandom paraphernalia and stuff like that. It's like whatever. But it is kind of it does. I think we get used to it. So maybe, turning it back to Electronics Boutique, it's like, oh, well, that's just us going back to the old style of doing things, but everything we sell is still the same thing. Like, it's whatever. You can call things whatever you want. Like, people bringing up Radio Shack we don't even have those in Canada anymore. It's just like, it was like the Source, I think.
Yeah,
it
was Radio Shack,
Mm-hmm.
and then it became the Source, and then it became like the Source by Circuit City.
Yeah.
And then I think Circuit City got bought by like Future Shop, and then Future Shop got bought by Best Buy.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, but I always loved Radio Shack. Like when they were the Source and whatever, they just became like a weird little store with just like a bunch of just like random stuff.
Yeah.
But I always loved that like the OG Radio Shack, like they always had that like weird place in the back with all the like and in the electronics projects used to spec everything in Radio Shack part numbers.
Yeah.
Back in the day, because they were the ones that you would go to the Radio Shack to get all the weird little bits.
And you kind of can't maintain.
I think
a
I'm
massive
assuming
retail
everybody just
presence.
orders that from China now or whatever, right?
I think a lot
Drop
of people,
ship.
DigiKey and Mouser. Mouser.
Right.
Mouser. I think that tends to be the places where I hear where people are getting
AliExpress,
a bunch of their parts is from that kind of thing. If you need more complicated parts, it sounds like you go to AliExpress and you get it direct from the source. They're already producing a bunch of random things. Oh, is Monoprice still alive? A good question. I don't know if you can. I never noticed people buying like diodes and capacitors from Monoprice. It was always like Monoprice is a place you go to get cables.
Yeah. Monoprice had good cables and stuff.
Yeah.
Or cheap cables anyway.
Anyway,
let's move on to Ubisoft. They are probably not playing the horn of triumph very often these days.
No.
So yeah, there's this like, what is Ubisoft doing? So yeah, the story is that they announced this big restructuring. So we kind of knew that this was that this was on the horizon, because there was a few months ago they got they not bought out, but they went into a strategic partnership with Tencent, which by itself was kind of a big deal because for the longest time, Ubisoft fought really hard to not sort of be taken over by like they fought off at least two like
Majority takeovers.
hostile takeovers.
Yeah.
And Yves Guillemot it's still sort of it's weird to call it a family run business, but it is kind of still a family run business.
Yep.
But now they, things have not been going well. And so Tencent and then so they announced a couple of days ago that they were doing this big restructuring where they've are going, there's always the like marketing speak and stuff, right? They're deciding to re-emphasize on their core whatever. But the end result being that they're closing a bunch of studios, laying off a bunch of people, and canceling 6 games. So they're canceling 6 games, including the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake.
Yeah.
That has been delayed several times but is sort of highly anticipated. And they're also delaying 7 all other games, none of which have been sort of announced, or they haven't said which ones. So it's like they said that they're canceling 6 games.
Right.
The only one they've actually identified was Prince of Persia.
Sands of Time remake. Yeah. Okay.
7 games they've delayed. They haven't actually specified any of those.
Okay.
Everyone is assuming at least one of them is Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, so frustrating. And the other thing is they've said they've in the same thing they're saying that they're still committed to new IPs. And apparently in addition to all this, so they still have 4 games with new IPs
Right.
in development.
Right.
Plus they have several sequels to Assassin's Creed, to the like Tom Clancy games, so like Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell, and then The Division and stuff. So they have like a bunch of sequels to their IPs already still in development.
Sure.
And then they've got these, and so it's just like everything we have been hearing from Ubisoft, I feel like over the last couple of years has been them canceling or delaying games. It's just like, guys, just release a thing.
Yeah. Make one game and make it come out.
And like they brought out, Assassin's Creed Shadows last
Oh, that's
year.
true. Yeah. Okay.
But I did also see an article that 2025, they released 4 games in 2025,
Okay.
which is apparently the least number of games they've released in a year since 1988.
Okay. Okay.
They're a big company. They've got lots of irons in the fire or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Just Dance, and some other stuff. Here we go. That's MTV CDC.
That is weird too, because when you think about it, like, okay, because when you say, "Oh, they released only 4 games last year," I'm thinking they're all on the size and complexity, because complexity is what matters here, of Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Right.
A game that has
but we're talking
characters.
Yeah.
And it's like no, Just Dance. That is a machine for them. Like Just Dance at this point, it should be a machine. It should just be something that it's like, we know how to make these. We've been making these for the last decade. And it is basically just a bunch of plug in new music, plug in new animations, take old music and take old animations out.
So they did Assassin's Creed Shadows, Anno 117 Pax Romana, which I'm assuming is an expansion to their Anno games.
Okay.
Just Dance 2026, and Bump Super Brawl. I'm assuming a couple of those games are what we would call, low lift games.
Yeah, okay, fair. It's funny though too, like because I would have been like, well, if you released 4 games that were Assassin's Creed Shadows, like, like, big complex
Yeah,
games taking years upon development, and you only got 4 of those to come out in a year, I'd be like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That seems acceptable.
And so, and I mean so there's this, it's like, and this article goes into this, but it's like, depending on how you want to view this, right? You can view this as, say, like, say Rockstar comes out with, GTA, Red Dead Redemption, but they like take years between releases.
Yeah.
But then they just blow everybody out of the water when they come out.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so Ubisoft is, canceling a bunch of stuff and they're delaying a bunch of stuff so that, those delayed games are going to be real good. Yes. By the way, another one of the games that they have confirmed, not canceled, is freaking Beyond Good and Evil 2. Yeah. So, I mean, that one's been in development for something like 18 years. Yeah. So it's going to be good.
Absolutely. They've been on it forever. They've been on Duke Nukem forever.
So it's just like... So, I can't help myself that I still have, like, sort of positive connotations with Ubisoft.
Sure.
Like, I've had a lot of fun playing Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
And, I remember, like, doing stories about them, fighting off these hostile takeovers and stuff. And I have this, like, and I can't help, like, even though, not only have they not been that successful as a video game company, they've also had some very bad company culture stuff. They've had multiple
sexual harassment
multiple
allegations.
sexual harassment things.
Yeah.
The other thing that Graham's talking about in this is that they one of the leads for Assassin's Creed was decided to leave the company. And we have now learned that he decided to leave the company after they basically forced him out. Or they were like, you can keep working here, but this other guy is actually going to be the boss now.
Right.
And you don't have the job that you wanted. And then they sort of put that as him voluntarily leaving.
Right.
And so he's suing them about it. So it's like, they don't have a good, like, they have company culture problems, all this stuff, but I don't know. Yeah. Despite all of that, I do still have sort of positive connotations about them in my mind. And it makes me sad that they seem to be having, it's that the thing that's fascinating to me is that it seems like, Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, right? These things are like, these should be just like slam dunk. Like, it's like if the company isn't doing well,
yeah,
you want a game, a game that is, is going to be popular.
Yeah. I
mean, the story and everything is already written. I guess you got to make new assets for it, except you could probably use a lot of the assets from the current Assassin's Creed games. Like, why does it seem like the remake for Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Prince of Persia, why does it seem like it's harder to do the remake than it was to make the game originally?
Right.
When a lot of the work is done already.
Yeah.
And they keep like restarting and delaying and doing all this stuff. And it's just like, get out of your own way.
Yeah. Well, because back, the thing of course, I think the thing you could probably say is like, especially for something like Sands of Time, it's like that, when that came out, everybody was like, Prince of Persia. What? You mean that weird freaking 3D, like, oh, you mean the one where you run around and like on my Apple II, and like it's like no, this is a little different. This is going to feel really good. And then people play and they're like, oh my god, this is a revelation in terms of in style and gameplay and like all those kind of things. Like, what a fun game to have created. It was one of those things that was made where I'm sure that they were like, expectation wise, the press is not going to have an idea of what to do with this thing. And it's going to come out and hopefully it resonates with everybody because it's resonating with people inside. And I imagine that the reason why you don't see a lot of take up here is because too many irons in the fire. Like, there's too much stuff going on at Ubisoft right now. So people are not really that devoted to the cause.
Yeah.
And probably also people who are on that team being like, so my job is to remake this thing. I'm not actively trying to create anything new. What I am actively doing is I'm trying to polish up something that somebody else has already made before me. And so the question is, what kind of team did you put on that in the first place? Is this your trainer team? Is this a team where it's like, we want you to get up to speed on how we work, so you're all young people learning how to do this thing?
Right.
Is that exciting? Like, is it the kind of thing where it's like, this will make or break the company? We know that everything relies upon us. Like, is there esprit de corps? There's a good word. Is there an esprit de corps among the people who are making it, feel like we're going to make this awesome thing, or it's like we're going to remake this thing that already existed?
And it's I mean, and even if you are making a cool new thing, you know, if you're working on, say, Beyond Good and Evil 2,
yeah,
it's got to be, you know, I'm assuming nobody working on Beyond Good and Evil 2 18 years ago is still working on it now.
No.
Right.
So the people who would be working on it now have to be like, we have to understand what made this great, and we're not allowed to let it suck. That's a different form of pressure.
And also, and it's like, but it's not even like, because, you know, there's no even pretend that it's going to be anything to do with the original Beyond Good and Evil.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. For some reason, I think of, I don't know if I've told this story before, but anyway, I was on a plane one time. It was a little teeny plane going from Seattle to Victoria. It's just, you know, one of these little puddle jumper planes.
Yeah.
And one row, you know, just one row with a very narrow aisle between them. And it's about a half an hour trip. And they were going to do drink service. And so there's a guy doing drink service. And, you know, it's a relatively full plane, but even full, there's like maybe 30 seats in the plane. It's not a very big plane. Mm-hmm. And so this guy's he's got the tiniest drink, because it's a very small plane. So he's got the tiniest drink cart I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That can basically hold like 4 cans. And he starts going down the thing, asks the people what they want, pours them the thing.
Yeah.
You know, you get the like half can or whatever. And then goes to the second thing, and then they ask for something that he either doesn't have in the thing or he's already poured it out. Right. So he sort of laboriously because he has to back up all the way to his thing.
Yep. And refill the cart.
Starts coming down. Anytime anybody has to go to the bathroom, he also has to slowly back his cart all the way back up out of the way so somebody can go past them to get to the bathroom and stuff. And it was just like, and I was at the back of the plane.
Yeah.
And he did not get to me.
No.
He did not complete one drink service over the course of the entire run. And you could see it in his face that like he knew he was not doing well.
Yeah.
Like he's like, this is going badly.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to fix it. All I could do is keep doing what I'm doing and try to do it faster.
Yeah, because I know what I've been told. And I know what the safety regulations say. Like, I'm sure it's a thing where he's like, he can't just be like at the front of the plane being like, we're going to do drink service. Who wants Coke?
Yeah, and I'll just get all the Cokes and I'll just go down and get all the Cokes.
And then I'll come back and I won't even use my fucking cart. I'll just put them all in my hands and be like, you get a Coke and you get a Coke and you get a Coke. Okay, great. And then go back and be like, who wants? I've got 12 ginger ales. Who wants ginger ale? There's 13 of you. The guy at the back, you're gonna have to have something else. Like,
he couldn't figure that out.
Yeah.
And so he was just going this, and I don't know. Sometimes especially these big companies and stuff, I feel that same kind of feeling where it's like they know that it's not going well, but they don't know how to fix it, and so they start sort of flailing around with different things, and it's like, you know, I want to. It's like when they brought out like Skull and Bones.
Oh yeah.
Right, and they brought out Skull, you know, and it was not that good, and nobody really liked it and stuff, and sort of came out, and you sort of want to, you can imagine like the, you know, Yves Guillemot or whoever, you know, somebody in charge being like, what? We made this already. Why can't we make this again? And make it better?
Yeah.
And why is this? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, that's what I felt like as a consumer. Even.
Right.
And it was just like, come on. We're, you know, ostensibly, Ubisoft is a very talented development studio.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there are many, many talented people there, but for some reason they can't get out of their own way and just do stuff. Anyway,
I know that we're kind of stuck on the Ubisoft thing, but when you brought up Rockstar, it made me think of a tangent that obviously Rockstar will come out with whatever their next game is going to be, GTA 6. And everyone goes on about like, oh my God, you know, they're going to make $100 million off this thing. It's going to be astounding. Like they're going to make so much money. It's going to like crater every other game in the market. You know, like nobody's going to buy any other game but GTA 6 for an entire year, whatever.
I don't want GTA 6 to be bad.
Yeah.
But it would be very funny.
It would be very funny. But that idea of this thing will come out and it will be this, you know, lodestone. And how many years it took them to develop it is kind of the interesting thing to me, because we always talk about there's always that balance of how many years can a studio stand to make a game for before they have to release it so they can actually start making the money back to be able to fill their coffers back up, because the money is always going down. I'm like, yeah, if GTA 6 comes out and makes $100 million in its first year, that is telling them that it's like, great, your long wait paid off. If they have loans in the company that they have to oversee, like maybe they're doing like debt financing and stuff as well to kind of be like, we have to keep bringing on more to pay for the company to make stuff, or that they had enough money to begin with to be like, we can go over several years of not having released this massive game. And then they fill it back up, and you'd be thinking, well, maybe that $100 million will be like, everyone's going to get Ferraris and it's all going to be like, we're all going to be rock stars, right? Like that kind of situation. Or is it going to be, we've refilled our coffers, we can afford to take another 7 years of development to make the next thing that we're going to make, or, you know, have our multiple teams kind of, we can afford to pay things and keep everybody afloat for longer. And sometimes I wonder that, it's like how much are like AAA video game companies who are devoted to like, we have to put in multiple years of making stuff, how much are they like construction companies? Because construction companies who have to make giant buildings these days,
you're sort of making the next thing to pay for the previous thing.
Exactly. You know, it's the only way that you can afford to actually paying for the thing is like, I got to make a thing, and then the money has to flow. It's always flowing backwards. It's always like paying off debts, and it's always like pushing stuff, you know.
I mean, you certainly hear that a lot. Often, unfortunately, often in like the indie game scene, you hear stuff like that, or I mean, and even the smaller thing like, you know, Kickstarters or that kind of thing, where it's sort of, once you get kind of behind the 8 ball or whatever, once you get sort of behind in that treadmill where you're like,
yeah,
we have to keep selling copies to pay for the previous thing, and now we're not actually,
And it's why indie studios a lot of times will be like, we're going to get acquired by a larger company because they like what we did, but they're also going to finance the debt that we had to take on or whatever, and that's how that's going to pay for that. And yeah, it's like we don't give a lot of grace to companies when they're saying, well, you know, we have to make a lot of things, or we have to make one or two really good things and make them make a lot of money so that we can afford to keep making the kind of things that we make. But it's like, I think you're also victims of your own success, and that you're refusing to say, what if we made something that was smaller? What if we used our giant teams to actually make stuff that is smaller, and we could be releasing smaller games, smaller ideas? And kind of the way to do that is to be like, oh, Red Dead Redemption, well, here's Red Dead Redemption 2. Strict upgrades in some situations.
Red Dead Redemption 2 that would be a big game.
Yeah.
But,
but they didn't have to start from scratch on it, right?
Right. And theoretically, GTA 6, I don't know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, I don't know. It's been so long, they probably had to make a whole new engine and stuff too. But I mean, you know, in Ubisoft's terms, the last Ubisoft game I played was the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Right.
Super great, super fun game, but in scope, much smaller.
Absolutely.
Than you know, one of the big Assassin's Creed games or something. And I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I would be interested to see what that kind of a game looks like on the financials for a company. You know, a company so big, like presumably that game didn't take
as long
or as much money to make. I'm assuming it didn't make as much money,
right?
But I hope, you know, I would.
It didn't cost.
I hope that it, you know, was considered to be a success.
Yeah.
but I have no idea.
And what's funny too is in the conversation about IPs, as a Nintendo gamer, I'm the kind of person who's like, I don't give a shit about new IP versus old IP. Obviously, I'm playing the same characters in different situations all the time.
Right.
And there's a sense. I mean, I'm playing Yakuza now, and I'm like, I'm going to play the entire Yakuza series. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm very happy with that. I like the style of game, and I like the characters that are in it and the stories they tell. So that's fine. I don't see a problem with where you get into a state where it's like, we must have new IP, and I'm like, I don't know if that's should ever be the problem. I think it's more about like new IP or old IP. All that matters is the game that gets generated as a result of it.
I believe his review of it might have. I think it was the other new Prince of Persia game, the Prince of Persia, the Rogue. Whatever. I think it's just called Prince of Persia the Rogue. Anyway, it is the roguelite Prince of Persia game.
Oh, interesting.
It's another 2D Prince of Persia game that came out last year, I think.
Okay.
And Yahtzee in his review was talking about where he was talking about like, you know, how much he enjoyed the game, and he was like, you know, you hear it's like, oh, it's another Prince of Persia game, blah blah blah, and he's like, you know what? I've come to the conclusion that it's like, yeah, right, the Rogue Prince of Persia. But he's like, I've come to the conclusion that, yeah, I don't really care. It's like if you've got to package your cool game and pretend it is a Assassin's Creed game or a Prince of Persia game, or, you know, if you have to like, you know, sort of dip it in another some well-worn IP in order to get it made, fine.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I don't really care. If the game is good.
Yeah.
Which is a weird, you know, it's sort of a weird like opposite take from the like, oh, it's got to be a franchise.
Yeah.
But it's this idea, and I think Nintendo is good at that. You know, that they like, you know, a Mario game can take many different forms.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different games that are a Mario game that, you know, the difference between in terms of gameplay, you know, Mario Wonder versus whatever, Mario Sunshine is a completely different game.
Yeah. I mean, Metroid is a fantastic example of that, because you have like the original Metroid of a side scroller, you know, starting that exploration, not merely starting the exploration genre, popularizing the exploration genre in a 2D space. But then you have Metroid Prime, which you have the 3D first person shooter, again, not a new concept, but adapting a thing to this concept. But then you have Metroid Other M, which did not do very well. And I played that, and I played that. You watched me play that, folks, and I played that to completion. And I was like, this is an interesting game with some interesting ideas. And I did have fun in most of the situation in that game. I had fun. What sucked was the characterization. We understand that. But also, Metroid Prime Federation Force, a game that, to my knowledge, was an interesting, fun game for those who decided to take a chance on it. But to most people was like, but this is not at all what I wanted out of a Metroid game at all. And then you have that thing of like, you can have a franchise game fuck up. Like it's possible, because when it comes down to is the game actually fun in a way that is appealing to people, and by tying it to a franchise, are you actually giving people, are they getting more information out of, because they have a different way of assessing your franchise than maybe you do internal to the company.
Yeah.
You know, making the Rogue Prince of Persia, maybe people were like, I don't want to play this because I saw some of it and I was like, this is not a Prince of Persia game, so I'm out, and they didn't buy it, and they're mad because they're like, you think this is Prince of Persia, but it's not. And it's like, right, because you, the consumer, have an idea of what that franchise means versus the people producing the thing being like, it's IP. I can make, you know, hey, I made Super Mario Brothers, so now I can make Mario Kart, so now I can make Mario Tennis. It's like, slap Mario wherever you want, and it works.
But like, yeah, like the Prince of Persia games, you know, there was obviously there's like the original Prince of Persia, and then there's the sort of the 3D trilogy,
Sands of Time Warriors.
But then they reboot, like each Prince of Persia sort of iteration doesn't really have anything to do with each other other than sort of the general setting. And certain gameplay elements that are, you know, it's going to involve jumping and sword fighting probably. and spike traps.
Yeah. Castlevania has done the same thing. There's been some really great Castlevanias. There's been some terrible Castlevanias. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of franchises, it's Sonic's anniversary. Which what number his anniversary is up for some debate.
Yeah, it's largely academic at this point. I think it is a constant function of being able to count properly. And I am very happy that we've seen this all the way to the 35th anniversary.
But yes, so it's and then this latest project. To be honest,
I love it.
Sounds kind of cool.
I think it's a great idea.
The Chaotix Detective Agency.
Yeah.
Is a noir crime podcast.
Yep.
I guess they were just like, hey, all you people who like voice actors for like random Sonic characters.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything right now? Why don't we just do this?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, cool. What game is this for? It's like, no, it's not for a game. We're just doing this.
Yeah, you're just going to voice act a radio drama. And I'm sure that to all of them, they're like, oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
We don't have to read like multiple, we don't have to do like multiple line reads. We can actually literally get in a booth with each other and actually tell a story. That sounds great for actors. You know, actors really want to do that kind of thing.
I mean, I think it's cool. I'm going to level with you. I don't quite see the like business case for why it exists, but that's okay.
Yep.
I mean,
you're not making money off this.
Yeah.
You can't be.
So I don't know why it exists, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it does. Like unless they're going to be like using it to, I mean, maybe it could be like a Detective Pikachu thing where they like do it in one form and they're like, everyone really liked that. That's actually maybe that.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe this is the Chaotix case files are a thing that's like this can come back every so often.
And maybe, you know, a Sonic, a noir game or whatever, some other media form that involves all these. Maybe it doesn't even involve Sonic. It's just like Sonic's buddies.
Yeah. I mean, these are like apparently the Team Chaotix shows up because of Knuckles Chaotix, I think is how they're actually related to anything, is my understanding. And
I don't actually even know. None of these characters are part of the Sonic canon that I have any familiarity with.
Yeah. And I just was like, I only knew about them previously because it's like I was looking up who's the most ridiculous Sonic characters I can be talking about in a list of Sonic characters. And I was like, Vector the crocodile, what the hell is even that? You know, like, but going through the list, like just understanding it's like this is a part of something that they've already made. It's related to something that's already gotten made. I love the fact that I was reading Video Games Chronicle where the article we were referencing was coming from, and they had a link to the Chaotix Detective Agency, and I clicked on that and it went back to an article from February 2025 where somebody on their site was writing just they were like going to the mat being like, why aren't Sonic Team actually doing more with the Chaotix detective people? Like, why aren't we doing more with that group of people?
So were they already a detective? Like,
I think they were
together as a detective thing
I
already?
can't tell. I was skimming the article awfully fast, and it felt like they were a detective agency already, but it wasn't a noir thing. And I was like, okay, this is whatever, because it's like one's the leader and one's the brains and one's the girl, and like, you know how it is. And I was just like, okay, this is interesting that this exists, and they're all voice acted by like Matt Mercer plays one of them. You know, Claudia O'Shaughnessy plays Charmy B.
Apparently, they were already detectives.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this person was going to the mat in February 2025 saying, you need to do something with these characters, and here we are in January 2026, not even a full year. And
he knows too much.
And Sonic Team was like, yeah, that actually sounded like a great idea. We should do something with these people.
We read your article. We thought we'd do it.
We thought we'd make a thing for you. So I love that. I love that they want to, because again, we come back to my favorite corporation, Nintendo. They don't do like radio drama stuff really, but they do stretch in all those other ways. They make little Pikmin shorts and they have like other little animations and stuff. And Pokemon Company's bad for that stuff. Like it's all the time they're making that kind of thing.
And I feel like Nintendo has, Nintendo has sort of historically had a pretty iron grip on their IPs.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the past sort of maybe 5 years or so, they've started to loosen up a little bit, and they started to be have a little more fun with it.
Yeah, I think,
And doing those sort of weird other different IP.
yeah, where can we reach these people to help them, like, to be like, here's a thing you would enjoy, and we can reach you on YouTube when you're not playing on your Switch. So it's like we can reach you on YouTube to remind you how fun Pokemon is or how fun Pikmin is and like that kind of thing. I'm like, I love that, and I like that. In this case, Sonic Team or Sega specifically or whomever is just being like, where can we reach you to let you have some fun with these characters and maybe build up an interesting story or an interesting base of material that exists outside of us having to make a whole goddamn game about it. We can just pay some writers and we can pay the studios and the actors and we can have them do a thing. And it's like, what have you created this year? It's like, we made this thing that didn't do anything for the bottom line, but it actually helped interest people in the product. And
it is funny, we were actually talking a little bit before we went online about this, the sort of Sonic's 30th anniversary running gag. And that it started because it was obviously actually Sonic's 30th anniversary. And it was fascinating how much how many tie-ins there were.
Yeah.
And then they just kept going. It turns out it wasn't like a special thing because it was Sonic's 30th anniversary. It's just Sonic has like a lot of merch tie-ins.
Yeah.
And a lot of sort of cross media things. Which is it's interesting that like, more so than Mario or maybe any, I don't know if there's any video game character that has as many sort of merch and other media tie-ins as Sonic does.
Yeah.
In some cases, sort of overshot. Like, I feel like he's more popular than
outside of his games.
Outside of his games, like even when his games weren't that popular,
yeah,
he was popular as like a pop culture icon.
Yeah. And that's a weird position, I think. I think we even talked about this before. It's a weird position to be in where if you were a company that made something that was great, that like really spoke to people, but it was in completely the wrong industry that you were involved in.
Yeah.
What a weird position to be in, where it's like, I created this mascot character and everybody loves it, but people don't want a jacket with my mascot's character on it. What they want is shoes, but I don't make shoes. So right. I guess the mascot character is going to go to hell. And it's like, no, you pivot then. You're like, I'm going to sell my mascot character to places so they can put it on shoes because it's what people want. And it's like, yeah, the idea of I've created an entity, then this is how I can find a way to market it. And Sega has found a way to be like, we can put Sonic on everything. And I think the way they do it is it's probably pretty cheap to put Sonic the Hedgehog on your children's shoes, cheaper than it would be to get Mario on your children's shoes.
Oh, certainly.
I have a feeling that's how they actually get the penetration into all those spaces.
And, because Sonic has existed in so many different, has comic books and whatever, half a dozen TV shows.
For over 30 years, I'm sure.
And movies and stuff. He has that recognition, but anyway, even though even when the games have been somewhat disappointing,
yeah,
not to say that there haven't been very good Sonic games.
Oh, sure. And like Puyo Puyo getting a chance to, and I really wanted to make that reference of like, because I was like, I forget what games it was, but I do remember that Puyo Puyo came out in North America and like all over the world actually under different names, and I can't remember what the games were. And then of course Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and I was like, oh right.
I did not realize that Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and Kirby's Avalanche were Puyo Puyo until I saw like screenshots. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, shit, they're just reskinned Puyo Puyo, yeah. And then Tetris the Grandmaster 3 Terror Instinct was just me having some fun.
Yeah.
Because I really want people to be like, wait, because there is a Tetris game that has Puyo Puyo in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I made the reference to Tetris, is because I'm like, I know there's like, I don't know if it's Tetris Blast, but I think there's like another Tetris game that is like that.
A little behind the scenes aspect here. See, Beej will write a story, and he'll often, all the writers do this, but Beej in particular is very, very good at often putting in links to or notations into his story for what graphics he wants in the story. And because sometimes he's like referring to memes or things that I don't know. And that's really useful for me. But then there's like, so like for this story, he goes, he's like Dr. Robotics Mean Beam Machine, Kirby's Avalanche, Tetris the Grandmaster 3. And so I'm going along and I'm like, okay, I'll get pictures of those games. Got Mean Beam Machine, got Kirby's Avalanche, got Tetris Grandmaster 3. Tetris Grandmaster 3 isn't one of those Puyo Puyo type games. Is that him making is that him making a mistake? Is that me making a mistake finding like the wrong image? Or is that him making a joke with like the third one is different? In which case, how does that change how I want to actually present the graphic, right?
Right.
So I'm like trying to figure out whether this was supposed to be just like, here are these games, or whether it's like these two and then this one. Which is sort of how I ended up doing it, being like, hey, here's these two, and then also this one. But
yeah,
it is.
I'm glad we had the title screen for that one too, because obviously the funnier thing would be just have like to even just have a shot of just normal ass Tetris and be like, people be like, that's not Puyo Puyo at all. What are you talking about? But the title screen is way funnier. It's
true, because it is like Tetris Grandmaster, Tetris the Grandmaster 3. What was the subtitle?
Terror Instincts.
Right, terror. Like that's real.
Yeah, it's crazy.
From screenshots, it looks just like a normal Tetris game. I don't know what the terror part is.
Oh, you should watch video of it. TGM4 actually came out recently, and since I follow Andy McClure on Mastodon, she has talked about the picking up those games.
I'm not so into the world that I knew what TGM stood for.
Sorry, the Grandmaster.
Oh, you haven't heard of TGM?
Yeah, Tetris Grandmaster. Yeah, they are stupid fast.
I see. Yeah. It's not called Tetris Amateur Beginner.
Yeah, the Gumdrop Orchestra. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Good God.
And then finally, of course, there's Cameron delivered his story about the Microsoft CEO talking about how their plans for AI in 2026, and not really having much plan, but having to write a thing anyway. Or maybe he didn't have to write a thing. Maybe he could have just not said something, and not everyone wouldn't have made fun of him. But anyway, yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Steve Jobs' thoughts on Flash. That was an industry, that was a bellwether for the Flash.
Right. Except that was not only actually sort of, well thought out and and made sense, and also was influential in the sense of being like, this is why we are doing this, that is actually going to make a big change in the industry.
And it was laser focused, right? It was like, I need to describe this is a thing that bugs me, or rather bugs us as a company. And if you've not read Thoughts on Flash, it is interesting to read. But it is that's from a CEO saying, we can't, Flash is not a workable solution for us. We should be moving to HTML5 and
It's especially interesting to sort of go back into the context of the time.
Yeah.
Where everyone was like, if the iPhone doesn't get Flash, it's in trouble.
Exactly. And he basically stood up and said, I think that if we keep putting things in Flash, that this half of the industry is going to be in trouble, because these are the technical reasons why Flash is going to erode our ability to do stuff.
And then within a year, Flash collapsed on all mobile devices.
Yeah. Because of one thing one guy said, right? And it was kind of bizarre, because people were trying to get Flash onto mobile devices.
It didn't work very well on Android anyway, so it was not that much of a loss.
And I think that was the thing, is that everybody was like, we're willing to put up with this bad technology because it's almost there.
Right.
It's gonna get there. It's almost there. And then Steve Jobs came out, writes thoughts on Flash is like, it's not there. It's not actually there. It's not gonna get there, and it's not gonna get there anytime soon. And this is creating a problem because of this. That was important, and like it bugged me because I was like, there's a lot of cool stuff that's on Flash, but I also see his point that if you try to keep cramming these things onto these computers that are not designed to run them at the time, you can do Flash on these devices today. But it's like, it's not gonna work out. So this is like, I think the reason why Satya Nadella has a blog is because he wants to someday write thoughts on Flash.
Yeah, be influential. I mean, he made the sort of bicycle reference. Yeah. But anyway, we talked about this when it came out on ChillPoint. So I need to go into it, but thanks to everybody for your very kind words about everyone enjoyed Cameron delivering. So, and that was actually a discussion we had when we were prepping this. Is I was like, this is, I don't know, the third or fourth story that Cameron has written that's sort of taking a piece of corporate communication and kind of dissecting it like this. And it's something that Cameron does so well. Yeah. And I was like, maybe this should actually, like, we should actually make this like a segment that he can deliver. I mean, those two things are not necessarily both required. Like it could be an independent segment that somebody else delivers. And I can imagine that other people could deliver things for the segment. Absolutely. But I like the idea of, having that, like, we had him deliver his movie review for the Borderlands movie too. And and I mean, Cameron does an excellent job of really getting the
finding the nut.
Yeah. Well, and because it's sometimes difficult for other people, if somebody's coming to get exactly what the sort of emphasis is required for a different story. I saw somebody in the YouTube comments was like, I don't think I've ever seen Cameron, like, I know he's reading it out and he wrote it and it's a performance, but I feel like he's actually kind of mad. Yeah.
I mean, like, people are saying, like, Cameron, the Andy Rooney of ChillPoint. I'm like, well, Andy Rooney, I think, also felt the way he did about the things he was reading out too. And it's.
I also saw somebody say, if Graham Beige are, the like Jon Stewart for, in the sort of Daily Show,
I would love that
thing. Then Cameron be the like Lewis Black.
Yes. That Back in Black energy. Yeah. It's a thing about the story that he pointed out that I was like, oh yeah, I've felt this and I've never heard it actually said out loud, was the part where he said, there's nothing here that says here's why you should use it. It was always about, here's the things you need to overcome to start understanding how to utilize this tool, right?
It's this idea of like, it's like, so now that we as a group have all decided that AI is going to be the future, because this is something that we all decided on together, and it's kind of it's inevitable. Yeah. So we're all going to be moving into this world. So now we have to figure out how we're going to deal with this, new world that we all decided to join together. Yeah. And we're all profiting from equally. Yeah. It's a weird kind of line to be like, we're very excited about everything that Microsoft itself is doing to push into this field. Yeah. But also, it's not something that we started. Yes. It is something that, it's just exciting for the whole world.
Yeah, it just kind of happened one day that all of a sudden that this was just something that everybody loved and was into. Mm-hmm. And there's this thing where I was like, whenever you've heard people talk about machine learning, and I love actually the distinction between machine learning and artificial intelligence as a term, because it's like, I'm all about machine learning, because when somebody says, well, describe machine learning, it's like, oh, machine learning is, let me give you an example. It is a computer looking at hundreds of thousands of images of what a tumor looks like on an X-ray. and understanding how to identify a tumor on x-rays that are not in its category. And then when you feed it information for x-rays and stuff, that it starts to look for things that look like tumors. And then it gives that to a person, an oncologist, radiologist, whoever, to be like, let me have a look. Oh, you flagged a tumor here. Oh, actually, yeah, I missed that because I'm a human and maybe I was really tired that day and I missed that tiny little dot. But you think that's a tumor. So let's do another analysis. Oh my God, it's a tumor. Yeah, maybe it's benign or whatever. I'm like, that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I just described one use case for what ML is like. And things like, oh, well, I can automatically do highlights and shadows on your photos, so your photos end up looking better. Or I can programmatically create a blurred background to make you really pop. So I can simulate depth of field on a phone. It's like that again is more machine learning, right? It's like I can utilize this ability to do this one use case, but everything that Satya Nadella was writing, he didn't say the use cases for AI that we think people would be using and the things we want to see that help is, for example, this and for example that. And I'm like, yeah, by and large, when a lot of people talk about the larger AI thing, like what LLMs are being used for, it doesn't feel like they're saying, this is my use case, this is the thing that I'm using to do this. And I'm like, when you actually do have that use case, it sounds way more compelling.
It's like now, sure, we before we had a system that could possibly, we could scan through all these x-rays and try to identify potential tumors.
Yeah.
Now we have a system that can generate hundreds of pictures of x-rays with possible tumors.
So why go to the effort of getting x-rayed at that point, right? Just let the thing say, it's like, if I had a tumor in my body, what would it possibly look like? Well, this is what it would look like. And like, I have a tumor. The LLM said so.
It's just like, and, they're not that different. Like from a technology perspective, I don't really know, but from what I understand, from a technology perspective, it's not even that different. A lot of the things that I consider to be very useful, like what you're talking about, the image analysis or
content-aware fill.
Content-aware fill even is, often sort of generating things.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to put that line, but and it's almost sort of, the difference is less like the technology and more the application, I guess.
Yeah, and sometimes even the implementation of the thing, because like saying content aware fill versus generative fill, and it's like on one side you're saying, oh, I had to move this person over in the image, or I took somebody out of an image and I have to fill in some bits that are missing there. Maybe some of their hair is missing. I need some of that, whatever, right? Like kind of thing. It's like and then Photoshop says, oh, well, nearest neighbor, I can figure out what it's supposed to look like. It's like asking somebody who restores a painting, can you come up with what this face must look like?
And yeah, that's like, because then I've experimented with sort of generative fill, but then also sort of more on the or more on the actual AI sort of full content aware fill versus generative fill, I guess. Yeah,
because generative fill more is like, put something in this situation that wasn't even there before.
Right, because that's it's like, there's a picture of me on the beach and I want to be moved over to this side. And so like, okay, here's more sand and sky.
Yeah.
As opposed to like move you over and then just put in like another couple with a beach umbrella there because it looks kind of empty.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but what? No, they weren't there.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing.
But from a computer, from a technical point of view, those two things are not that different.
They're very, very highly related. Yeah. I completely agree to that. But it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to a couple of stories that we didn't cover in the episode. Also Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Now, strictly speaking, I don't think there is an actual award that was given out for most Game of the Year awards. But in the tally, apparently Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has the most Game of the Year awards of any game ever. So I guess it's the best game ever.
At least this year. It is.
And yeah, that is
Yeah.
largely, it's I think you guys talked about, it's like how, when you go into like a bookstore and you're like, there can't be this many New York Times bestsellers.
Yeah.
How is every book a New York Times bestseller?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. and I know.
Turns out that there's a lot of different New York Times bestseller lists.
Yeah, and so there's a
And you can be on there for like 1 week.
exactly, and that means that you did it. And there's there's like this is clear obscure sinners in the Oscar nominations. I mean, if you think of it in terms of like there's that many more awards.
Yeah. Somebody went through and found some other Oscar-nominated songs that are in Fortnite.
Awesome. Okay. All right. I like that. What anything that stand out to you when you saw the list?
Well, a bunch of the Star Wars songs
are
in there. I should probably I should look at the list, but there's a couple that I didn't expect, but it basically because they've got a lot of like popular songs. So some of those are from movies that got Oscars.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it'd be funny if Golden was like the only one that actually had lyrics. But in relation to this thing though about Expedition 33 is that so this was a user named Anne at Reset Era who was compiling these lists to be like, well, let's go look for anything that is blank of the year. Not like I think it doesn't matter if it's like, best soundtrack or best visual design or like that kind of thing. I think it has to be a like game of the year, blank of the year, that kind of thing. And so it's like Reset Era gave game of the year and also Reset Era Reader's game of the year to Clair Obscur 33, E33. So,
because in some cases, like Clair Obscur won multiple Game of the Year awards from like one.
Yeah,
like people at one place gave them both, Game of the Year and Reader's Choice of the Year or whatever.
Exactly. And I think what's interesting is though when you look at the list, because if you go down the list, it's like predominantly you've got Clair Obscur, you've got Elden Ring, you've got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are in there. You've got I think Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Redemption are both in there as well. Like as you start going down the list, you realize that the bulk of the things that are in there are either RPG or action RPG. Like even Mass Effect 2 is the one at the bottom, like at place number 21 with only about 100 of the year awards, right? And so I thought it was really interesting that the only game on the list that stood out as like a real sore thumb was Overwatch. It won lots of Game of the Year awards in its year, and there's just this feeling of like, the third that kind of like it's a third person arena shooter type thing, PvP whatever, and I'm like all the other games are not that. And there isn't like Just Dance doesn't make the list, or like FIFA doesn't make the list, like sports games don't make the list, puzzle games don't make the list, rhythm games don't make the list, other than Clair Obscur. But it's like the predominant game that wins an award is much like in Oscars Best Pictures, where it's like comedies tend to not win, horror movies tend to not win. Like a lot of stuff that's in those categories don't tend to even get nominated, which is what Sinners is very interesting getting nominated for Best Picture. And so there's this thing of, do we only ascribe quality and depth and emotion to those games, or is it because those games lend themselves to more complexity, more work, that kind of thing?
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's definitely a thing there with like an RPG or that kind of a game. You spend a significant amount of time not only playing the game, because of course you spend a significant amount of time playing, lots of games, Call of Duty or whatever, but you spend a significant amount of time sort of with the characters and with the narrative. And I think that creates a very strong, when you go back and think about, if you're a reviewer,
right?
Going back and thinking about the games that felt important or that you really valued,
It had a resonance or a bond.
Yeah, over the year, those are the ones that are going to, a game that you just like had fun with, it's like, oh yeah, that was a cool game.
Yeah.
But like the game that you were like, no, they killed this person. How dare they?
Yeah.
Or whatever, like the game that really made you feel things.
Yeah.
Is going to be the game that you think about when you're thinking about that game of the year.
And before the modern RPG was like thought of, like before like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy occupy the console market, before Legend of Zelda is in that area as well, like how far back do you have to go to be like, oh, the games of the year were things like Super Mario Brothers or like Balloon Fight or Asteroids or like that kind of thing. Like it's like, at what point do you say that the thing that won the most Game of the Year awards,
Of course,
would definitely not have been that like an RPG, an action RPG.
Of course, you go back far enough and it'll be like Nintendo Power Magazine
Yeah.
says Mario is the best game of the year. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mario's won every year. But yeah, I mean, it is an interesting, and I think it is probably, I think it is sort of with the same thing with the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like it's related to that, right? The dramas and the sort of prestige pictures, right?
Yeah.
Are the ones that feel important. So they're the ones that you sort of put there, and and comedies and things don't get in there.
Yeah.
But Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh,
is in
good.
Fortnite.
Love that. Okay.
And Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Oh, nice.
Was nominated for Despicable Me 2. And then Power of Love was nominated for Back to the Future. And both of those songs are in Fortnite.
And they were nominated, but they didn't win. Golden could win.
That's true. That's true.
That could be interesting. First Oscar-winning song that is actually like, that has lyrics.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. Excuse me, I have another one of these.
Let's see what else is going on here. Oh, yeah. Mario Kart World has had another update up to version 1.5.
Oh, so we have some patch notes.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, it's cool that like when I saw an update for Mario Kart, I was like, oh, because the last update they did for Mario Kart was actually like pretty significant. Like they added a bunch of stuff. They added the thing that makes you so you can actually like see where all the P blocks that you hit are.
Yeah.
Which is so good.
It's very, very helpful. Yeah.
And this one doesn't have a huge amount of stuff, but it has got a few solid things. So added, you can do team races in the Knockout Tour now,
Okay.
both in online and wireless play,
Neat.
which is pretty neat. So this is this is definitely a mistranslation, but it is funny because it says fixed an issue where the game would sometimes end if a player plays as Kamek on Choco Mountain.
Can you play as Kamek in that game?
No.
No, you can't. It's like,
Presumably they mean uses the Kamek power up.
oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But everyone saw that and was like, wait, what? Are they adding a thing?
secret characters we didn't know about?
It's like, yeah. Also, just the game would end if you. I mean, even if it was, even with the correct translation, it's still fixed an issue where the game would end if you used Kamek on.
Yeah. It's
Choco Mountain.
You mean
which
like
is
goes to credits, or like does it like shut the game off?
Yeah, a little smoke comes out of your.
Game over. Oh man.
They've also added some done some polish to the game. Oh wait, no. It now supports Polish language.
Ah, okay. Good.
They polished the Polish.
Yeah. Tighten up the Polish on level 3.
Yeah. Fixed several other issues. Several other issues have been addressed to improve the gameplay experience. Well, thank goodness.
Yeah, I guess I'll figure out what those are eventually.
Yeah. Maybe it would be antithetical to what they want in the game, but some sort of like, P block slash peach coin like radar,
Yeah.
or not even like a radar, but like just like a little like beep.
Oh, if you're going past one.
Yeah,
And
like
you're
if
like,
you
wait, there's one in the area.
if you're within like whatever 50 meters of one.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you do. I mean, I haven't played Mario Kart World in a while, but I'm at the point. I think I have like 200 or something.
Oh Jesus! Wow.
Well, but that was like, I remember I was like at like 90, 190 something,
Right.
and I was like, how many can there be?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, okay, I got 200. I have like most of them. And then I looked it up and there's like 500 or something. And I'm like, okay, nope, not going to get 500.
It's like,
but it's also I felt like I had sort of explored I was like, how are there 300 P blocks that I just haven't found? Where are they all hiding? Is there just one spot where there's a bunch of P blocks?
So in terms of exploration in Mario Kart World, I spent a fair bit of time in that game. Not a ton, but a fair bit. And
but you were doing it very methodically, right?
Yeah,
You were just like crisscrossing.
Yeah, I was like trying to keep myself in just one region to be like, look everywhere in these regions and kind of get a chance to know what the land is like, which is easier to do because you have a car, so you can really roll around in there. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can't get on your horse and like go around as fast as you can. So like having the bike was nice to have in Breath of the Wild because like you could really like summon the bike, but then it would run out of fuel and that sucks. So, but yeah, being able to like explore the land in your cart and knowing that you can go just about anywhere in the cart was pretty good. But I really did feel like I would love to have seen, like I would have loved it if I drove up to a P-switch and it told me what the challenge was, and I was like, not doing that. And it's like, okay, and it just put it on the map. It's something I could turn on, turn off. It's like, oh, you found me,
right?
But you didn't want to do this right now, so now I'm a blue P. And I'm in this area, and all the gray peas are in here. You've already done them. The blue pea means that you've already done, or you haven't done this yet.
If you do the challenge and then cancel out of it, does it not show up on the map?
I have no, because when I was playing it, I never did it when it was actually showing things on the map.
Right. So maybe, I don't know. I think if you've done the challenge but failed it or canceled out of it, I think they do show up on the map.
That's good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you really do have to go into it and then come out of it. So at least give it a shot. But yeah, well, that's good. Maybe I'll update my copy of Mario Kart World and give it another shot.
Speaking of issues that address the gameplay experience, Gotcha Arc Knight's Enfield. Wait, no. The game is called Arc Knight's Enfield.
It is.
The game is not called Gotcha.
But it might as well be. Yeah.
Might as well be. It's a new Gotcha game.
Yep.
That just came out or just launched. It's been highly anticipated by fans of Gotcha games.
Yeah, and of Arc Knights, I'm sure. But
and apparently it's quite cool. But unfortunately, they launched with a kind of severe bug related to PayPal.
Oh yeah.
Where so people basically the result was that you like if you wanted to like buy something and you hooked your PayPal up to your account, suddenly people were getting like tons and tons of charges. In some cases, like in there's a screen cap here. Somebody's getting charges and like USD, yen, euros, Canadian dollars, USD, from all different national. So and then apparently, some people were, and then people were like not getting charged. So it was like it had like.
Conflated a bunch of accounts.
Screwed up a bunch of it. So basically, some people were buying things and not getting charged, but then and they were like, oh, I guess I don't have to pay for that one.
Yeah.
But then that charge would go on somebody else's account.
That's nice. Yeah.
It was very bad.
Well, comrades, this is our PayPal account.
Yes. So hopefully the guy who's buying the things that you're getting charged for isn't like a whale who's
oh fuck.
And they're saying, and so they obviously they as quickly when they found out, they shut off PayPal payments.
Yeah.
And they have refunded all the stuff.
That's good.
Which is good. So, good. But, as people pointed out, for one thing, if they refund all the money, but what about, like overdraft or something? Like if
Yeah.
you like, it can, having that kind of money move around in your account can cause some serious damage to
Absolutely. There's currency arbitrage as well, because it's like, oh well, if the exchange rate changed while you were
Right,
doing
exactly.
stuff, and knowing PayPal, like it's like PayPal won't give a shit, because they're like, no, your exchange rate going in is this much, like a bank is, and it's this much coming out, like a bank is, and so you get screwed on the transaction no matter what. So yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, and as this article is like, this is basically the worst possible bug for for any game.
Yeah,
but for a gacha game in particular, it's like the worst.
The only one I can think of that would be worse if it was all credit card based, but for some reason the servers only remembered the last credit card that was entered and charged everything to that instead.
Just to one guy. Yeah. I mean, 99% of your user base would be very happy.
It's true.
99.999%.
Don't be the last one to try to buy something.
Right. So anyway, they're getting it sorted out. I don't know. I feel like it's indicative of the mentality behind, people who are really into these kind of games.
Yeah.
That the first thing I see lots of things being like, well, when this game screwed up their billing, they gave everybody a bunch of free stuff. So what are you guys going to do?
Yeah.
Like the immediate reaction of like,
yeah, I see you mess something up in the game. That means we are owed free things.
That means we get stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, realistically, I would hope that they would be compensating. I mean, especially like I said, as you said, like that currency arbitrage or the payment fees and stuff, because it's the weird situation where, like, I think, like, the person who bought the thing,
Yeah.
and didn't get charged, sort of ends up
They got something for free.
getting something for free. The person who was charged and didn't get anything, not only didn't get anything, but they have to deal with this stuff. So like the victim got as opposed to somebody who's actually like stealing things from your account.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, the people who bought the things still bought the things.
Yeah.
And they still get to keep the things. So it's a little awkward. Especially, I love the way these things are worded. We have
I mean, if they're rolling
transactions involving abnormal item delivery or payment deduction will be handled accordingly. So yes, abnormal item delivery and payment deduction, as in items were delivered and not paid for, and things were deducted without delivering anything. So anyway,
Wow. What a mess.
they're refunding all purchases in that time period, including legitimate ones. Oh, interesting.
Okay.
All right. Boop-a-doop-boop-boo. Do you want a PS5, an Xbox, and a Switch 2 in one box?
Sounds expensive, but okay. How is this some sort of emulation machine?
No.
Is it not?
It is, in fact, a hacked device where they put this hacker woman put the boards for all these things
Yes.
into, apparently,
What is her name?
Or
What's her handle, I guess, because you probably give her handle.
X and Z.
Okay.
It's in Chinese characters or Japanese characters, but Chinese. But she goes by X and Z or Z. Nintendo Nintendo PX Box 5.
Yes. Great.
Anyway, so it's apparently the design is actually kind of based on like a
Mac Pro.
Yeah, the like trash can Mac Pro with the triangle.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Oh, that actually works. Have the triangle and have the three main boards from the different systems."
Except that what's funny is that the design is very human. What's funny is that she integrated the dock into...
Yeah, you can actually put the dock in.
Yeah, so it's like, which I thought very clever idea, because all that means is that you just you integrate the dock into the chassis, and then you take your Switch and you just slide that into the thing, and you can also then keep like taking it out
So
again.
then so for that one you don't really need to do a main board or anything.
Yeah, you're basically just using this like the accessory to do it, and it's kind of a fascinating idea.
And I mean, she made it all swanky, like she's making a custom heatsink that's all in the triangular form factor, doing all stuff. Apparently, with the power supply she has on it, you can only run one of the devices at once.
Which is fair, because how would you play all three at the same time? Like,
I mean, that just sounds like quitter talk to me.
I guess, yeah.
While you queue up for a game and then you switch
to the other one. Yeah. It's fun. She demos it in the video where she like holds down the button on top for 5 seconds and it pops over to the other one. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So, yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. This story is just mostly the cognitive dissonance. Because of course we're in a new world now. The console exclusives are not that big anymore.
Yeah.
And we're in a world where Halo is coming to PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it does not sound real to me, actually.
Yeah. This is it's the Sonic on Nintendo stuff thing, which has obviously been a thing for a while now. But we want to honor the Halo legacy on PlayStation.
Which, when you say it like that, it's like there is no Halo legacy on PStation. We're not honoring anything there. We just want to put Halo on PlayStation, so you'll buy it.
We want to honor the legacy of Halo on PlayStation.
Yeah.
There's a comma in there, I guess.
Yeah.
We hope to bring along the series veterans who have been with us for the past 25 years and have them play with an entirely new generation. It's so their first one they're doing, it's Halo Campaign Evolved, which is a remake of, I think this is like the third or possibly fourth remake of the original Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay.
It's they've redone the like actual campaign, and there's new stuff. I believe they've added like some prequel stuff. Yes. We want to honor the Halo legacy on PlayStation, and we're paving the way to expand our Halo universe. That's how we see it. And it's not a small thing. We don't and we won't take it lightly. We definitely feel the weight of it.
I love how you're reading it, too.
Yeah.
I'm imagining your spokesperson being way too serious.
Yeah. Campaign Evolved is a full remake of the original, but it modernizes certain aspects and will include some wholly original content with a series of brand new missions that take place before the main story.
So prequel stuff. Interesting.
Yeah. But here we go. This is going to be, and presumably there will be even more Halo stuff coming out.
I want to know, like, I'm interested now that when it does, because this is like anytime something comes to a platform, right? It's like, this has never been on this platform, and now it comes to this platform.
Right,
and it's been years, right? Like, it's not like, I mean, when Sonic started appearing as a character in Mario stuff, like, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, or like, in Smash Brothers and stuff like that, people were like, what the hell is happening?
Did you see there was just a little story about that?
Oh, is there another Olympic Games game?
No. Okay. But there was apparently there's a thing talking about one of the artists who worked on that. There was apparently a big kerfuffle up on the cover about whether, because it's Mario and Sonic.
Yes.
So who should be in front?
Yes. Yeah.
Who's winning the race?
Yeah.
On the cover. And Nintendo was very not happy about Mario not winning.
Yeah. Absolutely they wouldn't. I wouldn't be either.
There was some heavy duty negotiations back and forth about who was going to be winning the race on the cover of the box.
I mean, that kind of explains why most of the box art that I remember for that is face on, because then it's like you can see them both equally. They're both the same size and they can be tied.
Yeah.
And we can get away with that.
Anyway, sorry.
But it's like when those things were happening, it's like something you never thought would happen, and this is happening. It's like, yeah, you're right. I never thought that would happen. I wouldn't even have thought that would be like a thing. Or like Firewhisker says, like Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse being in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like when you saw that, it's like Marvel DC crossovers and Warner Brothers and Disney crossover, and like anytime there's like two major entities that had characters in that way, you're like, huh, this is a weird feeling that I'm seeing this happen. I know Halo's a big deal for Xbox people, for like anybody who's, that's a very big deal. I don't know if it was ever a big deal for a lot of PlayStation people that they weren't playing it because they didn't have an Xbox or whatever. Maybe it is. But like when Yakuza showed up on the Switch, I was like, shit, finally I can play this game. Like I was really, really happy. And I see somebody in chat being like, oh, finally I can play Halo. And I'm like, right. So you have a PlayStation, you don't have all the things. So you're like, oh, I can finally get around to doing this. I'm like, that's I'm interested to see if there's going to be a lot of people who be like, oh shit, this is so cool. We finally get to play Halo for the first time and see what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely the danger, and I mean, this is obviously they're doing remake and stuff, so that's probably a good idea. Because of course, there's the danger of because I mean, Halo, great game, but it's a 25-year-old game.
Yeah.
And they obviously they're remaking it, and they've remade it already a few times and stuff, but it's got that thing of this.
The gameplay style was this way.
And it's like this amazing genre-defining game at the time.
Yes.
But now that the genre has been defined,
yes,
when you go, it's the Citizen Kane or whatever problem where it's like, well, it's
just a movie.
It's just a movie. And they're just doing all the same things everyone else does. There's, no, nobody did it that way.
Yeah.
That was the point. They're all copying that thing. I mean, I won't say that Halo was kind of a pretty big deal. The bloom is definitely off the thing on Halo a little bit these days. It's been a while since the last Halo game, and the Halo franchise itself has kind of gotten a little muddy.
But the question is whether the language of game design has changed so much that in trying to recreate the Halo legacy, if they're like, we're actually going to have to modernize some of the stuff that's in this game, or maybe we don't.
And it's I feel like you, I don't know. I've played a little bit of Halo, but my concern is that, a PlayStation 5 person coming to it, in the modern day would be like,
so
it's fine, sci-fi shooter.
Yeah.
We've got a dozen of these.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Maybe you should add some RPG elements to it. Make it more like Mass Effect. And
yeah.
I do think it's funny because I was just also thinking about Fire Emblem, and because the language of game design, and it's like Fire Emblem, when people started discovering that on the DS and on the 3DS and stuff like that, there was when you could play Fire Emblem, your choices are either do you want to play it on casual or permadeath, right? Those are the two things. And of course, back in the day, no, there was permadeath. That's how it worked. Like when you played the game, if one of your characters in your party died, they're gone. And that was how it worked back in the day.
Nobody was casual back in the day.
No, it's just that's what we thought.
This was our life.
If you're doing a war game and somebody dies in the war, then it's like they don't just get to come back and you get to heal them later and do whatever. And so they're like, well, in the later games. So when you have people who go back to play who are like big Fire Emblem fans, right? Modern day Fire Emblem fans going back to visit the old games, are like, they must be amazing. And of course they'll be a little bit different because it's older graphics and stuff. And then they try them, like, holy shit, what do you mean my characters die? It's like, yeah, your characters die. And again, the evolution of the language of game design, and maybe Halo's going to have that same thing here, where they're like, wow, because Halo has changed a little bit over the years.
Is it the first Halo famously has a couple of sections that are really, really bad.
Oh, good.
So it famously has this very long section where you basically are fighting through a series of rooms that are identical.
Oh, great.
And then you go through it and do a thing, and then you have to go back through that same place. It's very not good.
Wow.
And I think in the remake they fixed that up a little bit.
Okay.
But anyway, Is it called the library? I think it's called. But anyway, somebody might know better than me. But it's sort of a known thing that was like, everyone is like, oh, Halo 1, it's so good, except for that one part.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they've done some stuff. Yeah, the library. Anyway. What else we got going on here? People are working on a project to build the Earth in Minecraft.
I did see
at
that
1-to-1 scale.
New York has a 1-to-1 now.
So people, the New York, which is what this article is about.
Okay, good.
Is working. They are the New York contingent of this larger group that is working to build everything.
Okay.
But yes, the New York contingent.
Oh shit.
Is working on building New York in Minecraft. There's a couple of screenshots here, and we're talking like 1-to-1, going from street maps, going from reference material,
right,
rebuilding things that aren't quite, it's
it's
a lot.
When you show me these pictures, because I'm sitting a distance away, it does like they kind of ping pong back and forth between this is just an aerial photo somebody took of a neighborhood in New York. And this is somebody designing, like a low poly version of a city, right?
This looks like it's like New York in SimCity.
Kind of, yeah. It really does have that feel.
Or in City Skyline or something. But yeah, they're going through. Here's a couple more screen caps and stuff.
Which I'm gonna say you picked New York, and I'm like, that shit's easy mode, guys. That's on a grid. You need to pick Boston. Like you need to pick some cities that have problems with their design.
Even with Lower Manhattan largely reconstructed, the group describes its work as in its early phase. Expansions have reached parts of Midtown and Queens, with Brooklyn beginning to appear on the digital horizon.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Here's the area there. So yeah, so this is part of the Build the Earth project.
Shit, does that mean that they're also making subways? Because that would be sick as hell. Like,
yeah, who needs Google Maps? You can just go and walk around.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah, the Build Earth community remains open to newcomers. Experience in architecture and design is helpful but not required. New contributors receive tutorials, coordinate data, because like they're standard building templates to maintain global consistency. So they're talking like they're not just eyeballing this thing. They've got like GPS coordinates that are being translated into Minecraft coordinates.
Right. It's basically a paint by numbers type situation.
I mean, except the buildings aren't like you sort of have to. I think there's a lot of creativity that goes into replicating the building.
Absolutely.
Minecraft, I think it's 1 meter by 1 meter. Is
the block
is a block in Minecraft. I think
that's hard to do American stuff. Then
I know we've run into the problem. In the couple times we've tried to we've done the moon base in Minecraft. Certain things don't really make sense.
Yeah,
like the side, it's like doors and walls and things. But
I mean, strictly speaking, what they're doing is going to be larger than 1-to-1, because if a single block is 1 meter by 1 meter. But everything is done in imperial measurements in the States. 36 inches is not a meter. So if you're trying to replicate what the design is, you're actually going to end up with things that are going to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, doors don't work well. But
That's
so
funny.
presumably they're sort of massaging stuff. I remember there's actually, I've seen a bunch of videos from people who are like, Lego master builders.
Yeah.
And they talk about stuff like that, like building. It's like, oh, you have to build a replica of this building, and sort of trying to, because of course it's the same thing. You're scaling. Obviously, you're scaling it down.
Yeah.
But also you're working in Lego blocks, and so you're sort of evoking what you don't do every single window. You do sort of a grid.
Yeah.
That is kind of looks like the windows if you're step back.
And somebody will look at it and be like, "Well, you have 15 windows in this row here, but there's actually supposed to be 17." It's like, I can't do 17 because the pips don't actually match up properly.
Right.
So,
And with Minecraft, like, presumably there are features on buildings that are smaller than 1 meter by 1 meter.
yeah.
So either you have to just, they aren't there, or you have to kind of work it out. But anyway, it's very, very,
I love this.
it's a very fun project.
Somebody in chat, I forget who, I'm sorry, they did say that Denmark apparently has already done their entire country in 1-to-1 back in 2014. And I'm like,
Wow.
including all the outlying areas, like all the areas, because that's the thing, was like, we're going to rebuild the world in Minecraft. I'm like, so you're going to start with I'm going to say the easy things, but the things that are actually built around construction, which is we're going to
so cool.
We're going to rebuild like a city, because that's a human construction and something you can kind of like,
Lots of straight lines.
yeah, you can bend your head around. It's like, no one's going to say, I'm going to rebuild Yellowstone National Park. They're not starting there. Right.
Right.
They're not starting with like,
I'm going to do every single tree.
yeah, I'm going to do the fucking Rocky Mountains. I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to hand wave that shit because the Rockies are just too big for you to actually decide you need to do that way. And you're not going to get it right down to the meter. Now you could do it programmatically, probably, if you were like, oh, well, here's how everything looks. Like we have topological maps, we have whatever, we could design a whole system to, recreate as you say with Lego, like the closest feeling, the evocation of what the Rocky Mountains feels like. I could definitely see that. That would be shocking to me, though, to be like standing, like if I went into a map and I was like on the Trans-Canada, on the way basically like through the Rockies, and just kind of got out of my car at Summit and looked up and was like, shit, like here it looks exactly like how I remember the Rockies looking whenever I'd go on these car trips through the Rockies, which I've been on many car trips through the Rockies. That would be a weird feeling for me to be like, they did it. The bastards figured out how to make the Rocky Mountains in Minecraft.
See, what I'd be really interested, or what would be really fascinating, is if the process of doing this, like there's a whole thing that has come about over the years and centuries and things, as people have made maps.
Yep.
And people have made more and more sort of detailed maps. Information, it sort of reveals information that may not have been otherwise available.
Yeah.
And I'd be it would be really interesting if in the course of doing this, you're building all this stuff and building all these things, and they do this stuff, and everyone's like, there's like a section right here that's empty, right? On all the maps. It's like you don't notice it because it all kind of lines up on the map.
Yeah, yeah.
But when we're actually building it,
yeah.
or you just inadvertently uncover some deep secret.
Right, exactly. It's like everyone's not seen this thing, but now we've actually seen it. Funny thing, Captain Spam brings up, turns out when your country goes metric, the coastline is just suddenly morphed to 1 meter cubed blocks, right?
The coastline paradox.
I love the coastline paradox because it's such a great little thing. Funny thing, this is trivia, it's minutia, it's whatever. The Canadian lumber industry is having to rework their machines, or they are in the process of trying to rework the milling machines to create metric sizes of lumber.
Oh.
Because that's not what we do. In Canada, everything's built in imperial sizes.
2x4s and whatever.
2x4s and stuff, right?
Except they're not even... Anyway.
Except they're not 2x4. I understand, yes. But also...
it's like if they're not 2x4s, then just make them whatever that's close to 2x4, because apparently nobody cares.
So the idea is that the Canadian lumber industry is going to have to starting to resize their lumber. They're going to have to basically rework all their machines. A very expensive thing to do, because trading with the United States has fallen out of favor, and all the places that want our lumber, all of them are metric. And even though we are metric as well, our construction industry has been locked into working in imperial units for years upon years, because our major customer of buying all of our lumber is the United States. But now that might not be the case anymore, not only does that mean that then all of our lumber is going to be resized to be that, you can't have you can't have an imperial size and a metric size going at the same time through a lumber mill, right? You got to pick one or the other. So you're going to pick metric so you can sell your lumber everywhere. That means that the Canadian construction industry is going to have to pivot to doing things in metric.
Oh man,
That's going to be terrifying.
We're going to have to start growing metric trees.
We're going to start having problems like what happened when they sent shit to NASA, like when NASA sent shit to Mars and it crashed in the surface. We're going to have a measurement like unit discrepancy, and people are going to fuck up buildings because they expect to be building stuff in imperial, and they're going to have to work with metric.
So I'm assuming in metric, but it's like you're doing it in metric, but you still need a plank of approximately 2x4. So I'm curious for Europeans or people who are in the metric building thing. What is the equivalent? Like it would be whatever
5x10.
5x10.
Yeah. That is the closest to like what a 2x4 would, I think, roughly. I mean, actually be a little bit over that. But that's the question. It's like there's going to be like, you know how there's an A4 series of paper? There's probably like an A1 plank of wood or something that's like, we've defined this type of wood. And that's going to be terrifying because it means that we're going to have buildings that are being built and stuff that's being measured. And it's like you cannot put like at a certain point be like, we can't get wood that's that size anymore. And that'll also mean that all the other things that we build that are 2x4 kind of like contractors use steel beams, like you have those C-shaped steel studs. It's like those are going to have to probably end up being resized to being like metric as well, because if your wood studs are going to be all metric, you're going to expect to start building stuff that way. I'm like, the construction industry is not going to have a fucking clue how to deal with this in an easy manner. It's going to be chaos.
All the building codes will have to be rewritten.
It's going to be chaos. I am not looking forward to this.
18 inches on center.
Yeah. 16 on center.
16 on center.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go on to speaking of
real swerve there, but yeah.
Speaking of people being unhappy with things, there was a great little post. There's a great sort of not editorial, but kind of a human interest piece on Polygon, a larger story. Human interest, but for a person we don't know who they are. They're a person by the name, or a user on Steam that goes by the name Obey the Fist. And why the Polygon is wrote this article about them is because this person seems to have accumulated or given the most negative reviews.
Oh.
They've negatively reviewed over 20,000 or almost 20,000 games.
Oh, this guy or person.
Yeah. And not just like downvote, like with reviews.
Scathing, written, yeah. Ooh, Jesus.
And, he's...
What's the motivation?
90% of everything on Steam is crud.
You're not wrong.
And they want to a developer who had his thing reviewed by this person and was sort of one of the people who sort of started investigating this guy, because apparently especially a lot of like indie games and stuff he reviews, he says, I suspect this person could be a failed indie developer. They seem very bitter against indie games and indie developers in particular.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When this is Danielle Pond, a developer who works at a studio who makes puzzle adventure games, say when Pond became aware of the account was only had 10,000 reviews. And out of all of those, Obey the Fist dramatically proclaimed that their game was the worst they had ever played. So I'm assuming that's why this
Yeah.
why Danielle Pond started investigating who this guy was.
Because that can't be possible if you review 10,000 games and you've just happened to stumble upon this, and then you do like another 10,000. I'm sure that you've now said those are the worst ones you've ever played. How often have you said this one's the worst one I've ever played?
Yeah.
I wonder. Also, they have to.
They have
to
like
buy a game in order to actually give it a review.
Yeah, he's got like a manifesto on his page. Why do you
Woof.
leave so many negative reviews? First of all, if you don't agree with my review, buy it. Put your money where your mouth is, anyway.
I mean, you do have the right to, when you buy a thing and leave a review, that is what's part of this. I'm saying you have the right, but the system supports that kind of thing. And that ultimately everybody who makes a thing on Steam, I think, is saying we also want people to leave a review to let us know what they thought of the thing. But Steam also wants players to leave reviews because they want to build up that corpus, right? To be like, we want players to be able to recommend games to each other or to recommend avoiding games if they're not interested in them, as long as they're accurate, I guess is the way to say it.
And I mean, this is actually like, he's got some pretty cogent points here.
Sure.
Says, most people don't review bad games. They just ignore them and pretend they're not there. I'm doing something different. I'm reviewing as many games as I possibly can. I never buy a game with the intent of writing a negative review. Every game gets a chance to prove itself. Every game is held to the same rigorous quality standards to see if it's one of the best the PC games can offer to gamers. Anyway.
Okay, that's the part that bothers me.
That's the part. The start. He started good. Yeah. He started being like, most people don't, and I agree with that. Like, most people, if you don't negatively review a game, they just ignore it.
Yeah, it's true. And I will also, I mean, I tongue in cheek say that, 90% of everything on Steam is crud, and I'm kind of like, I agree with that, but I agree with that tongue in cheek. It's like a lot of stuff there's that on Steam will be crud, like just be like asset flip kind of like I'm only making this thing to make money. I'm not making this thing to try to make a good game.
Oh, sorry, this is don't have to go. We won't go through this entire manifesto or whatever. But at this so no developer really wants to make a bad game. If every developer can make a game as popular and as technically and artistically great as games like GTA 5, Deus Ex, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, Mass Effect, etc., then that's what they would be doing. But they don't. This could be because they can't afford to hire anyone capable of programming modern PC graphics, or they lack the talent, or the talent, ability, skill, or expertise to do this very crucial part of game development. To cover for this inadequacy, they resort to using game construction kits and asset store templates, which are meant to educate and make small demos to pass around to friends. They're not meant to replace the hard work of real software developers.
Whoa.
So basically, you should be ashamed of yourself for not making GTA 5.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Is your game GTA 5? No? Well, then, clearly you could have done better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, holy shit. Like, especially because like all the games that were pointed out are games that are take millions and millions of dollars to create.
Yeah.
It's like, how dare you not have millions of dollars to create a game and infinite staff and like all this whatever else. I'm like, okay, it's
like, you think Silk Song is good? It's not GTA 5.
Yeah, right. Like that's God, it
doesn't even look a little bit like GTA 5.
There's also everything on that list that you said were way closer in genre to each other. We were talking about this before, right? It's like all the games you mentioned in that list, they're like, oh, these are the technical excellence of the industry. And I'm like, they're all the same kind of game, or at least they're all closer to being the same kind of game than anything else.
Also, as a side note, calling Skyrim an example of technical excellence, I think a lot of players of Skyrim would disagree with you.
Yeah. So, because I'm like, you didn't say anything about...
Skyrim's a great game, but buggy as hell.
Yeah. I think that if you wanted to prove these kind of things, like, is your game as good as Tetris? Like... that's where I'd start. That I'd be like, if I'm playing your game, is your game as good as Tetris? Because I can play Tetris for a long fucking time. I play threes on my phone. I love threes so much. If you have 2048, by the way, get rid of it. Get yourself a copy of threes because pay somebody who came up with the original fucking concept. But anyway, Tetris took over the world for a good reason. It is mesmerizing to play. And I think that if I'm playing your game and I'm driven to want to come back to keep playing it in that kind of way, that I want to do those kind of things, then you have already stepped the bar up one. Like, that's what I think that a game should do, is that it should be compelling enough to want to keep you in the mode of wanting to play it. But just saying like, well, it's not like WoW and it's not like GTA 5. And I'm like, you are ignoring the reason why a game exists, is that a game doesn't have to be WoW to be a good fucking game.
So, contrary to what I just said,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like the most recent review he left or whether it's just random, but randomly on his page here is his review of Hollow Knight.
Okay. Randomly.
Yeah. And he says, Hollow Knight is a 2D retro platform, Metroidvania platformer with slightly dark cartoony fantasy theme. As a Metroidvania, the 2D platforming loop is embedded in a larger, deeper background. You must progress, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, there are literally thousands of 2D retro platformers on Steam.
Yeah.
Almost all of them are terrible, lazy cash grabs. Hollow Knight is an incredibly rare exception to this rule. It is not an asset flip or construction kit copy and paste. It is generally developed. It is a genuinely developed game with professional AAA values that espouses the best gaming can offer. While the game does feature only 2D graphics, the rest of the technical execution is top-notch and provides top-tier gaming experience. The game looks and plays great on any system. The extremely high quality of Hollow Knight, the deep, rich gameplay, and exemplary levels of polish and consideration for the gamer's experience makes me glad to identify this as a rare exception above other 2D retro platformers and recommend this game to gamers.
Sure.
There we go.
Okay.
It's not always negative.
No, it isn't. But I mean, I think what this also creates, though, is an interesting. I think this draws on something that we see in media, though, when it comes to like whether it's media analysis or media study, like that kind of thing, is that if someone has a negative opinion, you might pay attention to it because you want to see, well, what is the bad? Like, what is the bad reason why this thing is not good? I thought it was good, but why do they think it's a bad? But I also think that we get drawn to people who have a lot of negative things to say, because it's the frisson of it, the excitement of it. But that also means that the rare time that they like a thing, then we're like, oh, but they liked this thing. So that means that they're not just a person who says the bad thing all the time.
Right.
They must be a connoisseur. They must have taste beyond taste.
The couple of things like MTV CDMs of his last 100 games, one got a positive. The Veil, Shadow of the Crown.
All right.
So that game has got to be. I have no idea what that game is.
Sure.
It must be amazing.
Sure.
Clearly,
Right?
Clearly, this person has very discerning taste.
Yes.
As long as you like the games that they like.
Well, and that's where I come down. Like, that's where I come onto this thing, is I'm kind of like this anybody who leaves. Anyone who's saying, I'm going to give a whole bunch of negative all the time, and then I have a thing that is positive, well, that's going to stand out, because we're like, well, all you ever say is negative stuff, so this is the first positive thing you say. We're all going to flock to that and be like, well, this must be amazing. And it's like, no, because their scholarship might be completely out of whack. Like, this is... people have brought up Yahtzee over and over in these things. Like, Yahtzee has a lot of critique that he wants to give, obviously. And so then you also then impart the person who gives a lot of critique with, oh, they must have power. They must have this. It is like Anton Ego from Ratatouille, always giving negative reviews all the time. Everybody's very scared of him. And the first time he gives a positive review, for one thing, his career is over. But also it's like, the first time he gives a positive review, it resonates with the audience. We are watching this movie and be like, he finally gave something a positive review. Our hearts melt. We realize how wonderful and good the food is that Remy is making, like all those kind of things. It's like, it's a very powerful emotional plea at that point. And I'm like, if you were a person who just did nothing but give negatives until you died and then that was it, people would then dismiss you as a crank. But because you are saying things that are positive from time to time, oh, you must be discerning. You must be a gourmet of some sort. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's false equivalence.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah,
this is just one person.
I will say, yeah, I personally am a fan of Yahtzee's reviews.
Yeah,
Yahtzee's. I mean, partially that's probably that his tastes tend to align relatively closely to mine
Yeah.
in the sense that if he really is positive about a game, then that is definitely something that I'm interested in. And he often will. I mean, he does often, obviously, rip games to shreds, but I think he's actually talked about it in reviews that he's like moderated over time. You know, as he's
Yeah.
gotten older, it's less fun to do that all the time. And it's
Yeah.
like, but he, you know, and he'll often be like, this game, or, you know, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, but I finished it because of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were things that appealed to me about it, despite the fact there were parts that did not. And I think that's like, we put a lot of stock in the idea that, you know, youth is important and the kind of impetuousness and drive of youth is very important, but also you don't realize how important the just kind of the day-to-day building up of experience over time tends to temper and change your sensibilities and the way you like. That's why, like I've said in the past, I'm like, it's very important for you as our audience to spend more time thinking about the supply chain of how something is created and how the process it goes through to get to the end of it, than just being like, all I have is the end concept. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of times, because that's what we all do in our own jobs, right? Is that we're like, hey, I had to make a hamburger today, and I had to consider all the 20 steps of me making this hamburger, and at the end I give somebody a hamburger and they eat it incredibly fast. They're like, that kind of fucking sucked, but whatever. And you're like, but I did do all the steps and I did put in the time and I did try to make a thing, and you ended up with something you ultimately ate. And I'm like, right, understanding, I think it humanizes the process more for us to understand that the people who are behind creating a thing or making a thing and understanding all those things is also, I think, important as well. It doesn't mean that you have to demand, please give me a loading time for everything you make it loading ready run. But when we do share those things, it's because we also want you to know it's like, hey, it is part of a process, and we love that you are interested in what our process is and the challenges that we have in making something. And I think that's important to understand the creation of any sort of thing, whether it's a creative product or whether it's like a widget, you know.
Just one or two more stories here. We're yeah.
Oh, do we have a paper fight tight tonight?
No.
Oh, good.
No, we don't. But I mean, we're already longer than we would normally run.
Oh, fair.
But you know, without chatty Heather here, we're just going on and on and on.
I feel like she's my moderating influence, maybe. Yeah. All right.
But it is the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, because if you didn't know, Doug Bowser is out at Nintendo. Mm-hmm. He retired at the end of the year, and so the new Nintendo of America president is Devin Pritchard.
Yes,
and she made her debut at the
Game Awards,
the New York City Game Awards.
Oh, New York City Game Awards.
I got confused about this too. Not
the Keighley Game Awards.
Yeah, not Jeff Keighley's thing.
Yeah.
She I thought her thing was quite classy, actually. She was like, she says, you know, hi everyone, it's great to be here. My name is Devin, and for anything else, I want to celebrate the New York Game Awards, 15 years of celebrating the games industry. And so she was like, hi, I'm the new person from Nintendo, but what's really important is the Game Awards. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So I thought that was quite classy. So you know, Doug Bowser, what's a Bowser to do when they don't
retire?
When they don't have a job? Well, they got to find another job.
That's true.
And they have to find. There's probably some way to work this in with a way to have to find another nemesis to fight and princesses to kidnap and stuff. He's working for Hasbro.
Ah, yeah. In fact, he's on the board of directors for Hasbro. Is that the case? Yeah.
And you know, I think he seems to have done a pretty good. I mean, who knows? You know, we don't have any insight into what his influence was at Nintendo of America.
Yeah.
Really. But he seemed like he did a fine job there, and Hasbro needs all the help they can get. So,
All right.
and hey, maybe we get the Magic X Mario crossover.
Oh yeah, that everyone's been dying for. That would be so weird because I'd just be like, I guess I have to do something with our next PPR somehow. I don't know how. I ain't gonna play Magic. I think that's like we don't really know a lot about Devin Pritchard. I don't think.
No.
Other than I believe she did work for Nintendo in a senior position before getting elevated to the president's position. I think that's all I know. And then, yeah, Doug Bowser moving on to be on the board of directors for Hasbro. I mean, that's a board of directors position, right? That's not board. The board doesn't
not
make,
a day-to-day.
Yeah, they don't make
operations.
steering job. They don't make a lot of steering like stuff where it's like they're more interested in governance, just to ensure that everything is kind of being obeyed and making money for the people who have invested money there. So, yeah. I don't think any sort of great changes are coming because he's on the board.
Yeah, she's been working at Nintendo of America since 2006 in marketing, business affairs, public relations before moving up to. She previously, right before this, she was the executive vice president of revenue, marketing, and consumer experience. So, I mean,
I think
those are all good things to be knowing about, I guess.
I think what it does illustrate to me is that by and large, Nintendo Japan Limited views Nintendo of America and probably all of their other Nintendo of blank as largely marketing exercises.
In fact, this article is saying that actually both Bowser and Reggie were also vice presidents of the sales and marketing department. So that seems to be where it is.
Yeah, you're not going to have product development, I'm sure, being the anyone who's in charge of product development working for these the subsidiaries are not ever going to be elevated to the point of view.
But can we add a Mario character that has the name Pritchard or Devin or something like Doug Bowser was just so good.
Yeah. It's true.
Like it was just such a weird it wasn't connected to anything. It was just like weird random happenstance.
Is Devin willing to change her name to Rosalina? Can we get a Daisy Pritchard? Could we do that? Anyway.
And then on a lighter note, in terms of patch notes, as you know, Marathon is going to be coming out soon. The new Marathon.
Yeah, this is Bungie, everybody.
Yeah, Bungie. And so people have started pre-ordering. It's now open for pre-orders and stuff. There's a post from the Marathon development team.
Mm-hmm.
We have resolved an issue where Destiny 2 would begin installing after people pre-ordered Marathon on Steam.
Oh, shit. Could you imagine if that's ultimately all it was? The whole Marathon development thing is like, look, Destiny 2 is going to shut down, and when it does, it's going to immediately pivot into being called Marathon. Oh, my God.
So,
what a weird
it's
error.
Just like, whoopsie. And, of course, people are clowning on it by editing the thing. We have resolved an issue where Destiny 2 would install.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
But, anyway. Yeah, people are like, what were you, like, was this supposed to be, was it supposed to be a bundle? And then you somehow remove the bundle or something?
I wonder, or if it was like that they're in buying a pre-order that somebody might have. Well, I mean, I'm sure that in just buying a pre-order, there might have been something tied to a back end where it's like, well, what's the binary blob that we have, and they just tied it to a Destiny 2 binary blob by accident or something.
Anyway,
That's so funny.
that's all of the news that thought to talk about today. If you haven't seen this week's episode of ChillPoint, you should do so.
It's a banger.
It is up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LRRVG. It's our video game channel. You can also become a member of that channel and get your name will pop up in the credits at the end of the episode of ChillPoint. You can also become a member of all of our any of our other YouTube channels. You can subscribe here on Twitch, or you can do our Patreon, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That is always that we very much appreciate your support, and you are what enables us to continue doing this and talking about all these silly video game companies that, in case it wasn't obvious, don't sponsor us.
Yeah.
I was like,
They don't even know
that
we
would
exist.
that would be the kiss it, like that would be the thing with this whatever this guy's name is.
Obey the fist.
Obey the Fist,
Yeah.
right? Is if the scandal comes out that he's being paid off by the Veil, whatever,
Or by
The-
Rockstar.
but or just like the one. It's like this guy hates everything except this one game.
Yeah.
Oh man, this must be an amazing game, and then finds out that he's on the payroll, and it's just like, oh, you've ruined your credibility as
Yeah.
a curmudgeon.
Yeah, you can always come here for unsponsored takes.
Yes. So, or at least we will tell you when there's if somehow we get sponsored takes, we will tell you that
Absolutely.
they're sponsored. But thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to all y'all later. Bye.